Nelson.
And we'll be learning it for the next 7 hours.
Breaking news in Cuba today. Nuclear missiles have been discovered pointed directly at the continental United States.
Allegedly enough to destroy most things.
Okay, Craig?
Yeah, it's just my wife. I'm having some problems.
Now's not the time to snap, Craig. We got news to report. That's what reporter Kiefer Sullivan, who was at position in Cuba, even though we were just informed of this incident 2.5 minutes ago. Keith, give us the deets.
Thanks, Hosta. The situation here is bleak to say the least. Behind me, we have the missiles that were earlier discovered by a U-2 spy plane. Fidel Castro refused an interview since he only speaks with red pigs. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Keith. That was great. Now we bring in a special guest, Kelsey Grammer. He's an analyst on Cuban missile crises. He will further expand on the issue.
Thank you, Deng News, for allowing me on your program today. I've always been a big fan of you guys there. Well, this crisis, we can honestly say, was brought on by the United States during the Bay of Pigs incident when we tried to overthrow Fidel. That man is quite enraged now, and he's used his alliance with the Soviets to have missiles pointed directly at the U.S. This is not a good situation, guys.
So, Cal, what can we expect from this? Do you predict all-out war?
The U.S. has already started a naval quarantine and are forbidding any import of defensive weapons. They are urging the Cubans to disarm the missiles. This is understandably creating tensions, especially with the Soviet Union. However, the Soviets should know that this war will be bad for both sides. We'll just have to see how this butting of heads turns out in the end.
Now, Cal, how long do you expect this whole ordeal to last?
Well, with my past studies of Cuban missile crises, it appears that they last in the ballpark of around a month, give or take a few days. The Soviets are not one to fight, and neither are we. There will most likely be some negotiations, probably secret, under the table, kept from the public. I'm guessing this will all settle down around October 28th, give or take a few days, if my calculations are correct.
I have questions here. Say, how are the kids, Cal?
Oh, little Jimmy died of polio last summer, and Sally Jo was recently diagnosed with scarlet fever. Honestly, I probably shouldn't be left alone right now. I'm pretty emotionally vulnerable. What do you say, Craig? Keep me company after the show?
I don't need that.
Can I put you down for a maybe?
Whatever helps you sleep at night, you poor, sad man.
That was pretty cold there, Craig. Hope nothing happens with him tonight.
He's got it under control. He's an analyst on Cuban missile crises, for God's sake.
You sounded pretty desperate there at the end.
I didn't hear that.
Guess we'll have to check the tapes later. It appears the President has announced a press conference. We're going live to Christian Slater with the deets. You there, Chris?
I'm here with you, Hosta, and it appears that the President's giving his appeal.
This government, as promised, has maintained the closest surveillance of the Soviet military buildup on the island of Cuba. Within the past week, unmistakable evidence has established the fact that a series of offensive missile sites is now in preparation on that imprisoned island.
You heard it from the horse's mouth. Now back to you in the studio.
Fantastic reporting, Chris. All 29 words of it. Now it's time for our commercial break.
Don't get too lonely, though. Daddy's just going out for a gallon of milk.
If the atomic bomb explodes, duck and cover. This family knows what to do, just as your own family should. They know that even a thin cloth helps protect them. Even a newspaper can save you from a bad burn. But the most important thing of all is to duck and cover yourself, especially where your clothes do not cover you.
Remember what to do, friends. Now tell me right out loud. What are you supposed to do when you see the flash? Duck and cover. Duck and cover. Duck.
And we're back. I'm going to kick it over to my co-anchor Craig here. Let's hope he doesn't choke up this time.
Pounding back a couple of shots of scotch during the break, feeling a little loosey-goosey. It's go time. All right, we brought our man Keith back in from Cuba, and he's on the streets doing his thing. What you got for us, Keith?
Thanks, Craig. Kiefer Sullivan here, live from the streets of America. We're about to get some public opinion on the crisis in Cuba. Excuse me, sir, can I have a moment of your time? Yeah. Just curious, what do you think about the crisis in Cuba?
I think it's really coming to a head these days. I mean, something's going to happen.
Do you think that the Cubans are really going to launch the missiles?
Oh, for sure. It's no doubt.
Okay. And do you think the American people should be worried?
Yeah, I mean, if they've got as many missiles as they say they do, I mean, okay, it's a force to be reckoned with.
Yes. Okay, thank you for your time. Excuse me, sir. Can I have a moment of your time? Sure. So what do you think about the Cuban Missile Crisis and what's going on right now?
The what?
Well, you see, the Soviet Union, they have nuclear weapons in Cuba that are aimed at the United States, and they're threatening to launch them.
When did this happen?
This has been going on for a few days now, sir.
Oh my god, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, so do you think that the Soviets will actually fire off the weapons?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're communists. Of course they will.
Okay, and do you think that the American people should be frightened or scared?
I'm frightened.
Okay, well,
I gotta get out of here.
as you can see, panic in the streets of America. Craig, back to you.
So I walk up to the counter, and the lady, two people in front of me, whips out her checkbook.
That's the worst, man.
We're live.
Okay, we're back. Great report there, Keith. Truly a master behind the microphone.
Breaking news, Hosta. The crisis in Cuba is over. The Soviets have agreed to dismantle their weapons and withdraw from Cuba.
Joining us again is Kelsey Grammer with the play-by-play of the end of this deal.
JFK underwent negotiations with Soviet Ambassador Anatoly Dobrin regarding the weapons. He promised to withdraw our missiles stationed in Turkey if the Soviets withdrew theirs from Cuba. These were, of course, secret negotiations. The plan of dismantling the weapons in Cuba was announced by Khrushchev at 9 a.m. on October 28th, I might add.
Sounds like your predictions were about right.
That's what happens when you dabble in the dark arts.
Well, thanks for being here.
Stay tuned, folks. We still got 6 hours of news coming at you.